So since the beginning of the cruising shutdown, I've always looked at the CDC no-sail order as the tool that the government would use to keep U.S. citizens off of cruise ships. But I may have been completely off the mark there. There is something else out there that's been there since the beginning that may be even more restrictive than the CDC no-sail order. It may be the big tool that the government's going to use to keep U.S. citizens off of cruise ships. In today's episode of the Lido Loca Cruise Show, let's talk about another way that the U.S. government can keep you off a cruise ship, and they could do it indefinitely. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Lido Loca Cruise Show. I'm your host, Tony. If you enjoy that cruising and travel content, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. Well, like many other cruise commentators out there, I've been laser focused on the CDC no-sail order. I've been watching the date extend from one time period to another. And as we roll into September 2020, we are looking forward again to September the 30th when the CDC no-sail order expires. We look at that as a hurdle that has to be removed so that cruising can resume. Well, the CDC on the 28th of August, they updated a page on their website dealing with cruise travel, and I went and I looked at it today, and I just realized that this is really the thing that could keep people from getting on the cruise ships. And I also realized that it's open-ended. It could keep people off of cruise ships indefinitely. What I'm talking about is the CDC's travel alert against non-essential travel. This is a level 3 alert. It went in place on March the 17th, and it's been consistently updated. Again, the last update was on August the 28th. And in a nutshell, what this thing says is that U.S. citizens should not travel on a cruise ship globally. Avoid cruise ship travel. Now, it does say avoid. It's not a mandate against cruise ship travel. It's a recommendation, the highest level of recommendation. And because it doesn't say avoid, that's why you've seen the CDC no-sail order come into play, because that was what the government used initially to make sure that people wouldn't get on cruise ships. And I really think it's what the government used initially to get the cruise lines to say we won't have cruising anymore. They're voluntary shutdown. But what does it really mean? And is there more teeth in this warning than we may have anticipated? There is some very interesting info in this travel alert. I will pin a link to it at the top of the comments. But the craziest thing about this alert is it's kind of unprecedented. It says in there very plainly, normally we tell people what countries they should go to or not go to, how they should act in those countries. But this is an unprecedented thing because we're looking at modes of transportation. We're looking at planes and trains and cruise ships. And now we're saying something very significant about cruise ships. And of course, the reason they step in and say something about cruise ships is the ability for the virus to spread on the cruise ship is massive. But to me, the thing that's troubling about this alert is that it really can keep cruising shut down indefinitely, more so than the no-sail order. In March, I didn't really think of it as an indefinite ban against cruising. I really thought the no-sail order was going to be the thing that set the date because this travel alert's open-ended. There's no end date in sight on it. But what I realized based on some other events that are happening in the world is alert, if it stays in place, could actually shut down cruising. We do have a case where that is true. In the UK, the FCO, their government body over there, issued almost exactly the same warning recently, saying that we don't want the citizens of the UK to travel on cruise ships. It wasn't a prohibition, it was a voluntary thing. And the cruise line's response to that alert that was put forth in the UK was to say, we will wait. For the time being, we've seen like P&O say, look, we're going to wait and see if this alert goes away. We don't want to cruise when this alert is on. P&O owned by Carnival Corporation. It's a global problem. So there's definitely a correlation between these warnings being in place and when the cruise lines are willing to cruise again. This travel alert causes lots of problems. It's a challenge for people that are trying to get insurance for their cruise. It's a challenge for the cruise lines that want to operate. Are they going to operate in a scenario where the government says people shouldn't be cruising? What kind of liability does that open them up to? I've been hopeful. In my mind, I've really been able to work out a scenario where a few cruise ships could cruise out of Florida in November and December. It's substantiated by the leadership of the cruise lines. I really feel like they want to cruise, but now looking at this travel advisory, will cruising be able to start up after the no-sail expires if this alert is in place? I don't think so. It's open-ended. It's indefinite. I, for one, think that this level 3 travel alert put in place by the CDC against cruise ships is actually the tool that the government is going to use, whether to allow cruising to resume or not. And they could keep that alert in place as long as they want. It's indefinite. The question for the comments is this, my dear citizens of the United States. Our government has said, hey, look, Americans, you should not go on cruise ships until we say. Do you take the advice of your government, or do you ignore it and go cruising? Leave a comment below. Thank you so much for checking out the show today. Show your support by hitting the like button. This is Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.